to the Cherry City Punch. We're
Yes.
excited to have you here. I'm Robert Solberg, along with my associate co-host Heather Toller.
I am just the associate co-host. I'm not a actual
Sorry, that's
co-host.
an
I'm a co-host in training.
That's an off-camera
Heather Toller.
inside joke that none of you would understand. Okay, Heather.
You could try to pick your favorite host
No, I
of
could,
Cherry
yes, I
City
could.
Punch. I mean, you can
Yes.
email us.
We can do a Twitter poll. We're excited. We have a really good show,
we
I think,
do.
lined up here. We are in the midst and throngs of Urinetown.
Yes, we are.
Week number 3 coming up here.
And we have Kristen Granger from True North.
Founder of True North.
Yes, one of the founders. And we also have 3 teachers from the
Katie.
Salem community.
Katie Gilmore from South Salem High School, Autumn Brightweiser from McKay High School, and Rhonda Couch from Sprague High School. They are all art teachers, and they're going to come in and talk about the art that's going on in Salem-Keizer Public Schools. I think we have a tendency to really focus on Salem-Keizer's strong music program, but there are other strong things going on in Salem that maybe people don't realize. So they're going to come in and
Exciting.
talk about those things. Heather, what do you have on the calendar?
So, as we mentioned, Urinetown is still going on. You still have chances to get tickets, but they're going quickly, so don't dilly-dally. Be sure to go get those tickets. It closes on May 7th. You also have one last Saturday in April to attend Shakespeare in the Market. So you on April 30th, you can go down there and see just excerpts from various Shakespeare plays by different groups in the community. And performances are going to be 10 and 11:30, 1 and 2. Check out the website for more information. We do have also auditions on the 30th at Pinnacle Theater for a show called The Aliens, and that's going to be at 1 p.m. It runs in July. We also have Almsville Community Theater. They're going to be opening up a show on May 6th. And then later in May, we have Keizer Homegrown Theater, Drop Dead. And that is actually directed by Molly Fitzsimmons. It's going to be opening May 12th. Now, we also have auditions for a musical directed by Robert Solberg.
Oh, I've heard of him.
9 to 5, the musical. We were telling you about this ahead of time so you can get prepared. It's May 21st, and it's at 1 p.m. at the Pinnacle Theater.
Heather, you failed to mention, you said check out the website for the Shakespeare in the Market, but what website should they check out for that? Because you said check out the
Well,
website, but...
you know, you can Google it.
But is it
and-
the Salem Saturday Market's website? Is
Yes,
that, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
sorry. Google it.
Just the organization. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
which
sorry about that.
organization has it up. We found Isaac,
We did.
finally.
Isaac's okay. I know people were worried about that. And
The weird thing, though, is he was covered in KY jelly. I didn't understand that at all. I mean, he was kind of gooey, Heather.
you know, Isaac is often gooey. He really is.
Sometimes you got to find your happy place. And
He
Isaac
actually
found
walked
his happy
in
place.
with an eclair,
Yeah.
and he had a bit of the eclair gooiness on his finger and offered it to me, and I declined. For the
Well,
record.
we're just happy he's back. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
So let's pop on over to our interview with Kristen Granger from True North. Welcome back to Cherry City Punch and our interview with True North's Kristen Granger.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thanks
Thanks
a
for coming
lot
on.
joining us
Nice to
today.
be here with you.
We're excited to have you. Is it accurate to say you're the founding member of True North?
Well, I'm one of two.
One of
yes.
two founding members
Dan
of True
Wetzel
North.
and I founded it a long time ago, actually, 2005. Were you in middle school, high school?
I was
Yes,
just beginning.
You
I was
were.
just born, actually.
I was just
then.
born.
So
Yes.
you guys, so 11 years.
Yes,
of True North.
different members, but in the current configuration for, I think we 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Now, for our audience, would you say that your genre is folk primarily?
Yeah, folk
Bluegrass?
Americana.
Americana, okay.
Yeah. So when you don't fit neatly into any one category, because we do some songs that are bluegrass, folk, and also swing, I'd say they usually put you in the category of Americana, which is sort of a catch-all for acoustic, folky kind of music.
Yes. And just recently, I'm a little starstruck now because
Are
you just recently won an award for your song "Be Here Now," and tell me about that award. And
Well, it was someone nominated me for a folk song of the year, and I don't know who it was. It had to be a DJ or a producer or otherwise a member of the International Music and Entertainment Association, and it's a international group. I think they're based in the U.S. in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
But I got an email saying I was nominated for this award, and then I would hear on a certain date, and then they invited me to come to the awards, which I unfortunately, because of my work, I was not able to attend, but they have a whole red carpet event, and it's a deal. They give you a little statuette and everything.
that's so
Where are
cool.
they based?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay.
Yeah, and it was a I got to. It was supposed to be live streamed. It did not get live streamed. They had technical problems. So I was getting all these text messages from people saying, "You won, you won!" And so, so we had a bunch of people over at our house, and so we just had a little champagne and celebrated. But anyway, what does this mean? I don't know. Lots of people have congratulated me about it, and it's really thrilling to be to win an award like that. But it's odd to have music as a competitive thing.
Yeah.
It's it's like any kind of arts. It feels so individualized and subjective that it doesn't seem right to judge it. It's like judging a photograph versus a sculpture versus a painting. Yeah. It's hard to say this song's better than that song. I don't know, but we're Americans. That's what we do. We compete.
Well, one thing that I actually listened to the song as I was kind of researching True North, and I was just telling them that I loved it, so I really appreciated it from that.
Yes, I was hoping to be nominated for Best Song Ever Written in a Hardware Store, because that's where it was written, but there didn't seem to be a category for that, sadly.
What do you, when you think about kind of your growing up and your interest in music as a child, are you where you thought you would be in life as far as music goes? I mean, what did you want to do? How did you start with music, and how do you get to kind of where you are now in a pretty successful band, and also a really professionally successful outside of music?
Oh well, thanks. So that's a complicated question. I'd say that. I am further than I ever dreamed I would be, just simply based on the fact that I grew up in a family where all of us were musical. I have 3 brothers, and we're very close in age, and so we had that dorky family band for a while. Oh. And when I went to college, very competitive and high-achieving family, too. And so when I went to college, I came back after my sophomore year at Christmas, and I went to dinner with my dad. And I said, Dad, I don't know why I'm in college. I feel lost. I don't feel like I have a purpose, or I don't know what I want to do. I just know that I love music and I want to be a musician and I want to be a performer. And he said, sweetheart, I hate to be the one to break it to you, you don't have any talent. If you did, we'd know by now.
Oh my goodness.
So my father was a very successful man. I figured he must know. So I just sort of stopped thinking about music as a possible career for me or anything like that. I put my nose to the grindstone and graduated from college and went to work. But I've always been in bands. Since I was 15, I've been in bands. And so I've never stopped playing music or performing music. And I've been in a lot of community theater, too, just because I love singing and performing music. But I've always been that voice in the back of my mind saying, well, you're never going to get past a certain level because you don't actually have any talent. So it kind of held me back. And also, having had mostly an extremely happy childhood, I didn't have much to write about. So I didn't suffer enough until, you really can't, I believe you really can't sing until your heart has been good and broken. And you really can't write until you've suffered. And you have to have that empathy, but you also have to have experienced those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I didn't really write any songs until I met Dan. And I was in my mid-30s and I had heartbreak. I'd experienced. And I also knew there was something inside of me that needed to come out. And no matter what my dad said, that I was sort of like, wait a minute, he was deaf in one ear, he was not musical. I don't think he actually knew whether I had talent or not. And I love my dad, but he's doing the best he can. He thought, he was doing me a favor by just, let's get that out of the way, just nip that in the bud.
Yeah.
So to think about what I've been able to do concurrent with a career and still really enjoy it immensely, not feel like I have to earn my living or pay my rent doing it. I have enjoyed a lot of success, and it's contributed significantly to the quality of my life. I mean, I love to be a part of a musical group, and I love to travel around and play music, and the people in the audience have no idea what I do for a living. They think this is what I do, and for that evening, it is what I do, and it means a lot to me. And I also love the fact that there's a whole generation of kids growing up around me that are close to my life that sing my songs and know my songs and think that those are real songs and they're going to be a part of their lives forever. And that means a huge amount to me too. It's like this little immortality that's going to be around forever, and there's no substitute for that feeling. It really is pretty great.
Oh, that's.
What's the coolest place that True North has taken you?
Oh.
When you think about where you've gotten to go.
So, well, we've gotten to go to, they're in Holland. I don't know if you know this, but for years in Holland, the month of May is like Bluegrass Music Month. And in many, many towns in the Netherlands, there are bluegrass bands playing music. And they have a whole festival. It's called the European World Bluegrass Festival. And it's called the European World Bluegrass Festival because the bluegrass bands are not from the U.S. Well, the year that we went, there were 6 bands from the U.S. and 30-some from other countries.
Wow.
So we were going to the gig. We went into this beautiful hall where the bands were going to be playing. We knew we were up in a couple bands from now, and we're standing in the back, and it's this beautiful stage and a great TV screen, you know, behind you with you on it, and then a smaller TV screen with you on it, watching the bands play. And Dan and I are like, wow, this is great. And there's these 4 guys all dressed alike, standing around one microphone, looking like a bluegrass band and sounding exactly like Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys, and we thought, oh, that must be one of the American bands. And they're singing, you know, I am a mule skinner, kind of it sounds exactly like. And so we think, oh, this is a great tribute to Bill Monroe. And then they stopped and they said, thank you very much. They were from, actually from Transylvania. They were from, a Transylvania bluegrass band. I think my favorite, though, was the all-girl Japanese bluegrass band doing a cover of Madonna's Material Girl.
Oh my gosh.
That was awesome.
That's amazing. In Holland.
In bluegrass style.
Wow.
Oh yeah, in a bluegrass style.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so there were bluegrass bands from all over the world. That was super fun. We've also gotten to a lot of festivals. Being in True North and a songwriter, I got to go to Telluride. Telluride Bluegrass Festival is one of the most famous and prestigious bluegrass festivals ever. So to be able to go and stand in front of 10,000 people and sing Be Here Now
Oh my gosh.
was amazing to me. I don't think anyone was listening, but you know, my little
You were
posse,
there,
yes,
though.
and my posse was out there going, yay! I could see them in the third row. That was huge for me. That was really huge. I mean, people were there who I have listened to and have influenced my singing, my songwriting. Forever. And there is, you know, Gillian Welch and David Rawlings. There's Nickel Creek. There's Brandy Carlisle. They're all on the same stage as I am. I'm like, hi, I'm Christine Granger from Salem. I got a babysitter, and I'm so happy to be here.
What's your bucket list place then?
Oh, well, you know, I'd say Austin City Limits, but that's, you know, really pie in the sky stuff. I think the people that you get to a certain point as a hobbyist, I guess, even no matter how good you are, where if you aren't doing it full time, the world is not necessarily going to take you seriously, and I understand that. That's not a sacrifice I've been able to make.
Yeah.
Just, you know, trying to raise kids and you know, get ready for college, make sure they can go to college and all that sort of thing. I never was able to just unplug from those responsibilities and buy an Airstream and take my show on the road.
But we have to have those bucket list
You
places.
do,
You know,
you
like,
do.
you know,
You do.
I want one more thing, and that is your take on A Mighty Wind.
Oh gosh, that is Dan and I look at that movie and think, oh my God, is that what we look like? Is that what we sound like? We live in fear. It's like a cautionary tale for
That's
our
how we
band.
feel about Waiting for Guffman.
Oh yeah, is that right?
All
All right.
too true to life.
That is an awesome movie though. But they are. You look at them and think, oh my God, is that what we do?
Oh, gosh.
Dan, so he's saying, okay, how close to A Mighty Wind is it? Just kind of rate it on a scale.
Yes, on a scale of
Yes,
1 to A
yes.
Mighty Wind, where we're
Right, exactly.
Now, how would we find out more information about True North?
Well, we're online at truenorthband.com. We started True North in 2005 when we couldn't find any bands named True North. We thought, oh, good, we've come up with something original. But since then, over the past 11 years, other bands have chosen that name as well. There's a gospel band, there's a couple of bluegrass bands, and there's a heavy metal band that I think just broke up. And now there's a jazz band, like a really tight, good jazz band in Portland called True North. And we wrote to them and said, just so you know, we don't really have the same audiences, but we've had this name since 2005, and they're like, thanks for letting us know. Silence. So apparently not worried about that at all.
Yeah.
So truenorthband.com, and we're on iTunes or Rhapsody or wherever you buy download your music. We are most of our music is available that way too. CD Baby. Or the Willamette University Bookstore sells our CDs.
Okay.
I know.
And if people wanted to kind of follow what you were doing next on Facebook, they can find you as well, right?
Yeah, Facebook, definitely Facebook, and then our band website also has a calendar
Great.
of our events. So
We'll go out, check out True North's upcoming shows. They don't have anything coming up in Salem soon, but follow them and find out when you can see them next. Thanks for coming.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, welcome back to Cherry City Punch. We are here right now with Katie Gilmore from South Salem High School, Autumn Breitweiser from McKay High School, and Rhonda Couch from Sprague High School, and they are all representing their respective art departments.
They're all art teachers.
Art teachers,
Yeah,
yes.
so this is like some art teacher power going on here.
Yeah.
I feel
The brain
good
trust
energy.
of art in Salem Kaiser. So why don't you each kind of talk about what kind of art you maybe focus on at your schools? Because, I mean, the category of art is kind of general.
Broad.
So what do you guys focus on?
Sure, go ahead.
My focus right now, my current position is digital art.
Oh.
So I teach digital photography, yearbook, and graphic design.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Anna?
Yeah, I'm the ceramics teacher at McKay High School, and once in a while we throw in some sculpture in there, but primarily functional pottery or ceramic sculpture.
And I teach drawing and painting, and also IB Visual Arts at South Salem High School. Some Art 1, which is our intro class.
Very good. So art is one of those subjects that, you know, there's funding has been disappearing. It's one of those areas where maybe there hasn't been as much focus on in the past. I'm just curious, what keeps you guys going in this realm? Obviously this is something you're passionate about. What is it that keeps you inspired?
Well, first of all, I can't think of a better job, to be honest with you. We're pretty lucky in that we get to create art all day. And we get to expose kids to that experience as well. I know in my school, my student population, it's extraordinarily rewarding because the type of clientele that I work with has minimal exposure to that sort of experience, and so we really kind of teach to the soul of the student there. Not every kid will ever go on to be a artist necessarily, but while they're there, they're learning to be a human being. So I think that's part of why I like to be an art teacher.
Yeah.
So it's more about the human element.
Katie, how about you?
Well, similar. I think I have the best job ever. I don't know why anyone would want to do anything else. But, you know, I also feel very lucky to have that job. And same thing, like I don't know that I feel like teaching people how to paint or draw is 100% of what I do. A lot of it is, you know, trying to teach kids that they can do more than they think they can, or you know, giving them the confidence to try new things, or to maybe try things that don't have one right answer, or trying to, you know, teach them to try and figure out what's good for them. Like, it's not predetermined what's good. Like, they have to figure out what is, you know, acceptable to them. And so I feel like it really gives them a chance to kind of grow independently, creatively.
I love that.
Well, I feel the same way. It's all about the kids. And like Katie said, it's about teaching them that there's more than one answer to a problem. It's also just about letting kids have the freedom to be creative.
To experiment, to
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
What do you are you able to immerse yourself in art outside of teaching art? A lot of times, you know, when your career is something you're passionate about, you lose sometimes the ability or maybe the drive to create your own art. Are you able to figure out how to continue your own personal art? I would think that being an art teacher, you had an interest in art through, you know, your childhood and into college. So how do you balance that teaching of art to your own nurturing of your passion of art?
Well, I'll speak for me because I'm a little jaded when it comes to that. I put so much energy into my students that I have very little left over. So I don't create a lot outside of work.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
'Cause it seems like you'd be.
It can be all-consuming.
It
Right.
really is.
When I direct
Yeah.
a show, I rarely want to go see a show because I sit in the audience and I pick apart the show because my job as the director is to create the best product. And so when I watch other people's shows, quite honestly, sometimes it just feels like work. And
I
it's
still
not.
love it, and I still get inspired when I go to other art shows or museums or just even to the Saturday market, wherever. I see art everywhere, and I get very inspired by that. And I even find lesson plans out of that. So.
But she is amazing. I mean, we've taken workshops together and outside painting classes, and sometimes we dabble in things together. And she's a phenomenal artist.
Now, Autumn, did you say that you had a show coming up? I think. That
McKay High School
Yeah?
has a show coming
Okay.
up. Yeah, so we are getting ready. We're doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work here to develop our yearly annual show. And it's a massive undertaking. We have 4 art teachers. We're lucky to have received 1 more art teacher, FTE, this year. And we put on a show that completely takes over our commons area, over 1,000 or plus 2,000 works of art that is judged by local artists and professionals. We give away massive awards. Senior scholars receive iPads.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. We have some really fantastic donors. Nationwide donors have helped. Very interesting to see just how much generosity comes from all over. People don't even know us and
And
contribute.
that show's open to the public?
Yes, it's
And
open
what
to
are
the public.
dates?
We're going to start kind of installing it May 9th. It'll take us about a week to get it up and running, and then it's up for 3 weeks or so when seniors are in their last week of school. But the opening reception is May 19th at 6 o'clock, and it's short and sweet, 6 to 7 p.m. at McKay in the high school commons.
And Katie, you just had an art show.
We did, yeah. We had our first IB Visual Art Show, which is a class that we just started offering last year, and it is for 11th and 12th graders. It's a 2-year class. It's really rigorous, really intensive. They have to work as an artist, do pretty big research projects. And one of the things they have to do is put on an art show. So I have 36 kids in the class, and they all had to put a minimum of 3 related works of art. They had to hang it all themselves. So we found a venue right at South, and so it was more than 100 pieces of art from my kids in my class, and it was really cool.
36 kids in an art class. That's
Oh, yeah.
huge.
Oh, that's
wow.
a good.
That's,
Is that a good
that's
size?
fine.
Oh my gosh,
size.
wow.
Yeah, they're
Not that
all,
big.
mine are all
Wow.
between 35 and 40.
Yeah.
And Rhonda, you have art that's up now, or is coming?
Yes.
Is going to be up
Yes,
somewhere?
we have a little bit of art up at the SCEF show in Kaiser at their community center there.
That's the Salem Kaiser Education
Correct.
Foundation. Yeah.
And it's at their location downtown.
No, it's in Kaiser.
Oh, in Kaiser.
In
Okay,
Kaiser,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
How has art changed since you guys started when you were an art teacher to now? What do you think the biggest?
Classes are bigger.
Classes are bigger.
Budgets are smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how do you kind of integrate that new medium of art that adapts with kind of our society when new technologies are discovered, like digital graphic design, for example, that's been integrated in art in some schools. I don't know if every high school has digital or graphic design.
I believe obviously Sprague has it and South has it, and I know McNary does.
We just
oh yeah,
we just
and
started it.
McKay has it. So it's they're building. Every school is trying to, because it's applicable to the real world.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially with the digital age, and I'm sure that it's probably reaching a different type of person than other classes may reach that particular student, and
Yeah.
more
it's
digital.
kind of all over the
Yeah.
place. Kids that are very talented in drawing, obviously their skills translate really well into digital. But I also have kids who feel like they're just not that great at drawing, and they tend to do okay too.
That's great that there's a broad, wide variety of what they can experience.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's an artist. They just might not have, found what their media is yet. So
Well, no.
you want to offer as many as you can.
I always say I can visualize what I want to see. I am one of those people that has a really hard time creating it. So I do believe
I feel
everyone's
the
an
same way.
artist in a different way.
Right.
Right.
And there's some that can
So you
express
just
it
have
with
to
their hands.
you just have to try more things. If you don't feel like an
Yes.
artist, you need to try more things until you find what it is.
Unleash your creative potential. Yes.
Yes. Now, if we were going to try to find more information out about your shows specifically, where would we go for that type of information? If we wanted to see where and what time, etc. Rhonda, or
Go ahead.
Yeah, Rhonda, start with you.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think if for the SCEF show, you would have to go to their website, and then Sprague has a homepage, and then I have my own link from there to my yearbook information.
Okay,
So there's that.
that works.
For us, once in a while, we try to get Salem or Statesman Journal to put a little blurb, and I think we can do that again. They're pretty good about that. But otherwise, I would say just to contact McKay directly.
And we have the Clippian.com, which is our newspaper that's online, and so they have all the information on everything that's going on at South usually, or our homepage.
Perfect.
Well, get out and check out the art that is in Salem, out at the SCEF location in Kaiser, and the McKay show coming up.
And there's
on...
also a Young Artist Showcase at the Bush Barn right
okay.
now.
What is that?
That's right.
There's art from all over the district, middle and high school level, and it's up right in the Bush Barn.
Okay, so get out to
Right
Bush
now.
Barn and see that art as well. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you. for
Thank you.
having us. Yep, we appreciate it.
Hello, and welcome to Isaac's Corner, the needle of quality in this moldy hay bale of a show. I'd like to talk about trees today, although, to be perfectly honest, that is my second choice. I wanted to talk about a positive work environment, but Heather said she would, I want to get this right, F my A up if I did. So I'll just talk about trees then. I've always thought that the best part of living in Oregon is not having to wear sunscreen, and I think that's generally true. Although you wouldn't know it from looking at these backgrounds Robert chooses. I mean, he has the color sense of a bleach stain. But you also wouldn't know that from looking at the Capitol Mall, which for some reason has cherry trees on it. And don't get me wrong, cherry trees are beautiful, but only for like 2 weeks out of the year. The rest of the year, they look like gangly umbrella stands. It's horrible. So I thought I'd come up with a couple solutions to this problem. And the first one, it seems like a good one. This was the first one I came up with. You rip them out, rip all the trees out of there, and you put in fake ones. Okay, you get some plastic ones with the flowers on them. And you just put them in there and you have flowers all year round. And that sounds like a great idea, but then you have to remember, fake plants get dusty. I don't know why, they just do. So I tried to come up with another idea, and I think I came up with a great one. You take them out of there, you get rid of the trees, you rip them up, it doesn't matter what you do with them, you just get rid of them. And what do you put there? Parking spaces. The one thing Salem really needs. There you go.
All right, I feel really good about this episode, Heather.
It's a great show.
Let's just be honest, Heather wasn't happy with episode 7. She felt
Well,
we got a little bit too political.
I also had a cold that day.
She did,
So I
yes,
was
she
a
did.
little under the weather.
But I think we
it was-
bounced back.
Yeah, and it was great talking to Kristen. I am just so inspired by her finding her songwriting
Finding her
ways.
voice.
Finding her voice.
I think we could have easily spent a half an hour with both the
Gosh.
art teachers and Kristen.
Yeah.
What really, really interesting people we have here in
It
Salem.
was great talking about the art programs in Salem. Who knew that there was such
Oh
a
my gosh. Their own art shows going on,
Yeah.
for weeks.
So you really need to check those out. Check out the websites that I mentioned. And I also want to thank our sponsors, Wandering Angus and Anthem Cider.
So let's preview next week. We have Curleen Nowickus, who is currently starring in the production of Urinetown that we're also in, but she's a multifaceted performer that's not just a musical theater person and maybe more experienced in other aspects of performance in musical theater. So
And
we're going to talk
also
to Curleen.
Mickey Trowbridge, who is with yoga and beer. So
We're
very
excited to kind of get involved in that. Heather and I kind of have an itch to start yoga. So
we're going to stretch out.
we're going to ask Mickey some questions about how somebody might get involved in yoga. So
Yes.
check out that episode.
And if you're interested in being on our show, be sure to email us at cherrycitypunch@gmail.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, Cherry City Punch, and message us.
And like us on Instagram.
Yes.
Just follow the interesting pictures we have. So thanks for watching this episode
Yes,
of the Cherry
thank
City
you.
Punch. We'll see you next time. And thank goodness we found Isaac.
Yes.